I found out my husband secretly drained our savings to support his mom, and now our marriage feels like it's built on lies. I realized something was wrong with my marriage when I checked our joint account to see if we could afford groceries and found exactly $12.47. Not $12,000. $12. I stared at the screen in the Walmart parking lot, phone balanced on the steering wheel, air conditioner blasting, receipt from the pharmacy still warm in my hand. The number didn't make sense. We'd just been paid 2 days ago. Rent wasn't due yet. We hadn't made any big purchases. At least, I hadn't. I refreshed the app 3 times like that would magically fix it. It didn't. I texted my husband. Me, hey, did you move money from savings? Me, our checking is basically empty. The little delivered popped up immediately. No response. That should have been my first clue. Ethan and I had been together for almost 9 years. Married for 4. We met in college when I spilled iced coffee all over his laptop in the library. I cried. He laughed. Told me it was already broken anyway. We ended up studying together that night, then getting burgers, then slowly becoming one of those couples people said were meant to be. He was gentle. Patient. The kind of guy who remembered to put gas in my car when he borrowed it. Who warmed up my towel in the dryer when I showered after work. Who sent me stupid memes when I was stressed. Everyone loved Ethan. My mom adored him. My friends trusted him. Even my grumpy dad called him son after the wedding. Which is probably why it took me so long to notice the cracks. Or maybe I noticed and didn't want to look too closely. Money had always been a mild stress for us, but nothing dramatic. We both worked. We budgeted. We weren't rich, but we were okay. We agreed early on to combine finances because we're a team. That was Ethan's phrase. He loved that phrase. We're a team, babe. When I got a raise, it was our win. When he paid off his student loans, it was our accomplishment. When bills got tight, it was we'll figure it out together. So when he suggested he'd handle most of the budgeting since he was better with numbers, I didn't argue. I trusted him. That was my second mistake. By the time I got home that afternoon, Ethan was sitting on the couch scrolling through his phone like nothing was wrong. Hey, he said casually. You get the allergy meds? I dropped my purse. Why is there $12 in our account? He didn't even look up. Oh. Yeah. I moved some stuff around. Moved it where? Relax, Maya. I hated when he said my name like that. Calm. Flat. Like I was being dramatic. Ethan, I said, keeping my voice steady, we had almost $2,000 yesterday. He finally looked at me. Smiled slightly. It's fine. I just covered some things. What things? Stuff. That word. Stuff. I crossed my arms. What stuff costs almost $2,000? There was a pause. Just long enough to feel intentional. Look, he said, standing up, you're stressing for no reason. The bills are paid. We're okay. We're not okay if we can't buy groceries. I'll transfer money back tomorrow. From where? Our savings. You said you moved money around. Yeah. So you drained checking and now you're going to drain savings too? He sighed like I was exhausting. Maya. We're a team, trust me. Something cold slid into my chest. Ethan, I said quietly, what did you spend the money on? Another pause. Just some things I needed. I stared at him. You needed $2,000 worth of things? He rubbed his face. Why are you interrogating me? Because it's our money. Exactly, he snapped. Our money. Which I handled. Handled. Not we decided. Not I talked to you. Handled. That night he transferred $500 back from savings and acted like that solved everything. I didn't push harder because part of me was scared of what I'd hear, and part of me still wanted to believe the man who warmed my towels couldn't be lying to me. Over the next few weeks, it kept happening. Money would disappear. Not all at once like before. Smaller amounts. $200 here. $350 there. Always just enough that I noticed but not enough to cause an immediate crisis. Every time I asked, Ethan had an answer. Car repairs. Work lunches. Helping his brother. Random fees. Nothing I could easily prove false. But the numbers didn't add up. We were constantly tight now. Date nights stopped. Groceries became cheap frozen meals. I stopped getting my nails done. Ethan still bought coffee every morning and somehow had new clothes. One night I said, joking but not joking, "Are you secretly supporting another family?" He laughed too hard. "Don't be crazy." I didn't laugh. That's when I started checking the bank app every day. And that's when I noticed something worse. There were transfers I didn't recognize. Not to savings. To a different account I'd never seen before. Just labeled with a string of numbers. When I asked about it, Ethan said it was a side account for bills. Why wouldn't I know about it? Because you said you didn't want to deal with finances. I said I didn't want to manage spreadsheets, not that I didn't want to know where our money goes. He kissed my forehead. You're overthinking. Overthinking. Another phrase he loved. The major twist, the moment everything cracked, happened on a Tuesday night in the most boring way possible. I was folding laundry while Ethan showered. His phone buzzed on the bed. I wasn't snooping. I swear I wasn't. I just glanced automatically like everyone does when a screen lights up. The notification read, "Bank alert, transfer of $600 successful. From our checking to that mystery account." My hand started shaking. I waited until he came out wrapped in a towel. "Ethan," I said, holding up the phone, "what is this account?" His face changed. Not angry. Not confused. Scared. "Why were you on my phone?" he asked. That told me everything. "You're moving money again," I said. "Where is it going?" "It's nothing. Ethan. It's just for budgeting." "Then why does it look like you're hiding it?" Silence. I stepped closer. "Are you in debt?" "No." "Are you gambling?" "No." "Then where is our money going?" His jaw tightened. "For God's sake, Maya, can you just trust me?" "No," I said. "Not anymore." Something in my voice must have sounded different because his shoulders slumped. He sat on the bed. "I didn't want to worry you," he said quietly. My stomach dropped. "Worry me about what?" He stared at the floor. "I've been helping my mom." I blinked. "Helping her how?" "She's behind on some things." "How far behind?" He hesitated. "Ethan. Like, a lot." My chest felt heavy. "Why didn't you tell me?" She was embarrassed. "And you know how she is about money." I did know. His mom, Linda, had always lived just barely above water. New purses but overdue bills. Nice car but no savings. "How much have you given her?" I asked. He whispered, "Around $12,000. The room spun. $12,000? Over time. That's almost all our savings." I was going to build it back up. "When?" "Soon." "Ethan, we were saving for a house." "I know. You just decided to give it away without talking to me?" "She needed it." "So do we." He finally looked up, eyes wet. "She said they were going to shut off her power." My anger softened slightly. "Okay. That's serious. But you should have told me." "I didn't want you to say no." That sentence hit harder than the money. "You didn't want me to say no," I repeated. "So you took it anyway?" "I was going to replace it." "When?" "With what?" He opened his mouth. Closed it. That was when I realized there was more. "Ethan," I said slowly, "what aren't you telling me?" Another long pause. "She's not just behind on bills." "What else?" "She has credit card debt." "How much?" He swallowed. "About 40,000. I stared at him. "You've been sending our money to pay off $40,000 of her debt?" I was trying to help. "With our future." She raised me. "And I'm your wife." We just looked at each other, breathing hard. Then he said something that changed everything. "She promised once it was under control, she'd pay us back." My voice was barely a whisper. "And is it under control?" "No." "Is she paying you back?" "No." "Ethan," I said, tears burning, "then you're not helping. You're enabling." His face hardened. "Don't talk about my mom like that. Then don't treat me like I don't get a say in my own life." That night was the biggest fight of our marriage. He accused me of being selfish. I accused him of lying. He said family comes first. I asked what I was then. He said I was making him choose. I said he already had. We went to bed on opposite sides, backs turned, both awake. And that's when the guilt started creeping in. Because part of me felt like a monster. What kind of person gets mad about helping a struggling parent? What kind of wife complains about money when someone might lose electricity? But another part of me felt betrayed. This wasn't a one-time emergency. This was months of lying. Months of disappearing money. Months of treating me like a child who couldn't handle reality. The next day I called Linda. I'd never confronted her about anything before. We'd always been polite. Slightly distant but friendly. She answered cheerfully. Maya. Sweetheart. Hi, Linda, I said, my heart pounding. Ethan told me about the money. Silence. Oh, she said softly. He said you're struggling, I continued. Yes, she sighed dramatically. It's been so hard. I'm sorry, I said, but I didn't know about any of it. Well, I didn't want to worry you. That phrase again. I just wanted to understand, I said carefully. How much do you still owe? There was a pause. Ethan told you too much. Linda. She sighed. Honey, money always comes and goes. You're young. You'll make more. Something snapped in me. That money was for our future. And this is my life, she said sharply. I took a breath. Are you planning to pay us back? Another pause. Well. I assumed Ethan wouldn't expect that. My hand started shaking. You assumed. He's my son. And I'm his wife. Silence. Then she said something I'll never forget. He loves me more than he loves money. I whispered, that money isn't the problem. She scoffed lightly. You sound ungrateful. That was when the truth hit me like ice water. She didn't see it as help. She saw it as entitlement. When Ethan got home that night, I told him everything. What she said. How she wasn't planning to pay us back. How she thought we'd just make more. He defended her at first. She didn't mean it like that. She was stressed. You misunderstood. But as I repeated her words, his face changed. Slowly. Like reality seeping in. She really said that? He asked quietly. Yes. He sank into the couch. I just wanted to fix things for her, he murmured. And in the process, I said softly, you broke us. That's when he started crying. Full, silent, shaking sobs. I didn't know how to say no, he whispered. I sat beside him, conflicted. I didn't want to disappoint her. And you were okay disappointing me? He looked at me like he'd never thought of it that way. That was the twist I hadn't expected. This wasn't just about money. It was about his inability to set boundaries. About being the good son at any cost. Even his marriage. Even his honesty. Even our future. We tried to fix things. We made a new budget together. We closed the secret account. He promised no more money to his mom without talking to me. Linda didn't take it well. She called him crying. Texted constantly. Sent guilt-filled messages like, I guess I'll just figure it out alone like always. Sorry for being such a burden. I thought family helped family. I watched Ethan struggle every time his phone buzzed. Sometimes he almost sent money. Once I caught him hovering over the transfer button. I just want to help her a little, he said. And I just want a marriage built on honesty, I replied. The tension was constant. Like walking on glass. We went to counseling. The therapist gently explained boundaries and enmeshment and financial infidelity, a term I didn't even know existed. Ethan looked sick when she said that. Infidelity? He whispered. Yes, she said. It breaks trust the same way an affair does. That stuck with him. But healing wasn't fast. And here's where I have to admit my own flaw. I started controlling everything. I checked accounts obsessively. I questioned every purchase. I panicked over small expenses. I'd snap when he bought lunch out. We went from him hiding money to me policing it. And that wasn't healthy either. One night he finally said, I feel like I'm on probation. And I shot back, you put yourself there. Which was true. But also showed how broken we were. The climax came 3 months later. Linda showed up at our apartment unannounced. Crying. Saying her car was about to be repossessed. She needed $1,800. Immediately. Ethan looked at me with that old panic in his eyes. Maya, he whispered, she's going to lose her car. I took a deep breath. Ethan, I said calmly, we don't have that money to give. We do in savings, that's our emergency fund. This is an emergency. For her, I said. Not for us. Linda sobbed louder. I knew she'd turn you against me, she cried. That's not true, I said gently. But we can't keep doing this. Ethan stood between us, shaking. Mom, we can help you make a plan, he said. But we can't give you more money. Her crying stopped instantly. Her face hardened. So you're choosing her. Silence filled the room. I'm choosing my marriage, he said quietly. She stared at him like a stranger. After everything I sacrificed for you? He swallowed. I love you. But I can't keep saving you. She grabbed her purse. I hope you're happy, she snapped at me. Then stormed out. The door slammed so hard a picture fell off the wall. Ethan collapsed onto the couch, shaking. I feel like I just abandoned her, he whispered. I held him. You didn't, I said. You just stopped enabling. But inside, I was terrified. Because I knew this boundary might cost him his relationship with his mom. And I wondered if he'd eventually resent me for it. Now it's been 6 months since the money fight started. We're still together. Some days are good. Some days are heavy. Linda barely speaks to us. Our savings is slowly rebuilding. Trust is a work in progress. Sometimes I catch Ethan staring at his phone when her name pops up. Sometimes I still feel my chest tighten when I open the bank app. We love each other. But love feels different now. Less innocent. More real. I've learned that nice doesn't mean healthy. That secrets can exist even in happy marriages. That helping can turn into harm. And that sometimes the villain isn't one person, it's patterns passed down quietly. Part of me wonders if I should have been more compassionate. Part of me wonders if I waited too long to speak up. Part of me wonders if our marriage will ever fully heal. So, Reddit. Am I the asshole for stopping my husband from financially helping his mom, even though she's struggling? Or did I finally protect our future before it was gone?